somebody like Nixon, the establishment took Nixon down. The establishment, obviously, it looks like, um, you look what's on the surface. Kennedy was killed, and then, without knowing exactly who did it, it comes down to it looks like probably the establishment looks like the leading one out of all of the suspects for the Kennedy assassination, but the assassination for killing Nixon and Nixon presidency and his ideas was definitely establishment. So it looks like the same character that killed Nixon killed Kennedy. They had to get those guys out of the way, so they're you're gonna hear lies and propaganda also, and it's gonna be you're gonna have to dig a little bit and talk to people who different people, not just one individual, people who had been there, know a little bit about it. Take it with all with a grain of salt until you find out exactly what it is that I'm talking about Nixon in particular, um, and what he was doing for the economy at the time. And don't um, uh, allow yourself to be fooled until you figure it out and why the establishment had to get Nixon and also a guy like Kennedy out of the way. So um, basically, my hat's off to George Bush. George Bush was um, one, aside from Ronald Reagan, also. Ronald Reagan, I believe, um, had a lot of respect for America and uh, truly liked the American people. So I don't see why anybody could paint him as a villain. But they do. There's people out there that will talk some crud about him. And all I can say is um, we're at a different point in time than we were then, whenever it came to socialism and socialistic practices and whatnot, and like drugs and the drug war. But we're not talking about Ronald Reagan in particular. We're talking about Nixon, a guy who also got us out of Vietnam. Like these yuppies really wanted us out. We should have at least finished the job and not had left there and it not be unsettled business. It should have been at least like Germany whenever the wall finally came down. So people are, I guess, those communist places are coming around to democracy now as we're being toyed with by the establishment. Still, has been at it for 60 years or more, you know, trying to slowly but surely, progressively destroy America and take over the American uh, agenda system, which I mean they do a good job as it is, pretending to be our representatives as it is. Um, so, anyways, I wanted to make this like kind of a little bit uh, fun. I guess it has to come from the way I interpret things a little bit. So I'm gonna give you a like a it's not a metaphor. I don't know if it's a metaphor exactly. It's a story. I'm gonna say like how I put Nixon into perspective. So say with all this liberal stuff, Democrats are pushing, um, uh, and then they use liberal and people uh, for their agenda or whatever. It all adds up to people being more wasteful, abusing the system. While they're abusing their authority, they're allowing people that follow them to help them abuse the system. So they're abusing the system instead of getting it to where it would realistically be with where you were with Nixon. If you had a job and you had a family and you had to take care of all these people, um, you would have incentives for that. You'd have tax cuts for those people, and you'd have abundant amount of jobs for them people to do, enough to where um, even it seemed like people who aren't really a job oriented type of person can still get along and be happy and not be frustrated and have a job to go to or something to do. I'm just saying, have the jobs and the economy booming so much that even your what do you say, you must unjob worthy people maybe, or people that just are not good at jobs, just don't function well at jobs, or whatever their problem is, will all find a place where they would do well and thrive. So I'm talking about like this. So you get drunk and you get high and you drink the Kool-Aid and you're on this government system, on this warpath of destruction to destroy your own self. Um, so you're drunk with pathological lies and trying to kill your own self, destroy your own country. Um, so while you're abusing the economy, inflation goes up, all this other stuff is the opposite of what Nixon was, the Nixon path. So we're on this path of destruction for all these guys. Then we're all out partying. What happens? You knock some girl up, and then you have to raise a family, and now you're stuck with this um, thing that you were compelled to do with this uh, basically um, irresponsible lifestyle and pattern and way that you live. So now you abuse it so bad. But now you have, but now all of a sudden you knock some girl up. Now you have to realistically think about being honest with yourself in Nixon politics. That's all I was gonna say.